A my naozaj veríme, že tieto smart vychytávky môžu byť aj súčasťami našich smart domácností, veď v konečnom dôsledku mnoho smart vychytáviek používame v každodennom živote. Veď si zoberte, máme inteligentné hodinky, len prichádzame a otvára sa pomocou nich automaticky naša brána, vchádzame do našich domovov, dnes už je úplne normálnou súčasťou nie klasický kľúčik, ale priložíme si otlačok prsta a dvere sa nám otvoria automaticky, hlasom zadáme povel, aby nám náš inteligentný domov pustil príjemnú hudbu a automatizácia nám medzičasom pripravila v rúre nejaké dobré jedlo, prípadne sa nám automaticky spúšťa kávover. Toto už nie sú technológie budúcnosti. Týmito technológiami už v podstate žijeme. A stále sa hovorí, že žijú tým najmä muži, ale ja si nemyslím, že je to tak pravda. Aj keď je pravda, že možno, že muži viac investujú finančných prostriedkov do technologických vychytáviek, ako napríklad do svadby. Ale keď si to tak zoberieme, v konečnom dôsledku aj tak skončia rovnako, pretože aj tak im tá chladnička raz v budúcnosti bude posielať upozornenia, že nemajú nakúpené, alebo že práčka im vyčíta, že zase si tu zabudol tie ponožky. No, dámy a páni, budeme hovoriť opäť o inovácii v smart žití a bývaní a spoluzakladateľ a CEO spoločnosti tady Grzegorz Chuchra nám o tom povie viac, pretože jeho doménou sú práve tieto inovácie v smart bývaní. Tak ho privítajme. Stage yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Grzegorz Chuchra, but you can call me Greg, because probably for you Grzegorz is not easy to pronounce. I'm here because I'm one of the co-founder and CEO of the Polish company, Tedy, that produced the smart lock. It is one of the leading smart lock provider in Europe, here in Europe. And that's basically probably perfectly aligned with the theme of this conference and of this section about the smart home. And maybe that's enough about me, and let's talk a bit more about the future, because I think we all over here to talk about the future. As you see, I have pretty bold statement here that you, like each of you, will get a smart home somewhere between 2027 and 2031, and I'm guessing that you think that this is some kind of far-fetched from your perspective, but just please be open-minded for next 15-20 minutes, and maybe, just maybe, you will think that it's more reasonable than you think right now. But before we will move forward, I would like just to make a small survey, and it will be hard to see because probably there is not 200 people as I thought. So please raise your hand if you have some kind, if you do not have smart lock, like nothing like that on your home. Yep. That's exactly something what I thought. But the second part, it will be more tricky. Do you have smart locks? So, are any one of you courageous enough to have some kind of smart lock solution right now at your home? And right now, please also raise your hand. Is there someone? No one? Yeah, there is one person. Yeah, one person here. Only one. Yeah. No. Okay, it should be 5. But I have one thing that if you see, there is a lot of free spaces here, so probably that's the reason. Because based on my data, it should be around 5 based amount of the how many people we have here, and what kind of audience you are. But why I think it's 5? There are several theories that explain how the innovation spread within the society. Especially it's about tech innovation. And one of those one of those theories, which I particularly like and which helps me on the day-to-day basis, really, is by Mr. Rogers. It's like a 50 years old, very thick book that explain different kind of technological waves and how they spread in the society. We will skip others for now because they are much more complex. But this diffusion and this framework, if you apply this in your endeavors, I think it will help you a lot also in your business ventures once you will get some kind of startup as we have. So, but bearing in mind that there is one very nice saying that all models are wrong, but some are useful. I find that one very, very useful, so I hope you will find as useful as I have. And what that theory says, it basically divides the society into 5 different buckets, into 5 different categories. The first one, which is called innovators, and we have one lady here who definitely is one of those. It's only 2.5% of the population. So if you have 200 people in the room, there should be around 5 people as innovators. And if you have less, that means either the group is not well represented, either the technology is not on the right stage right now. So then we have some called like early adopters, and that's something what you hear the most, that's something in the startup ecosystem probably the most overheard. So those are the people who are the first to use the technology once it's past this very bumpy road on the beginning, when it's just the innovation stage. After the early adopter, you have the early majority, which adapt the technology just before the average person. So they are already looking for something which is proven, but still they use the tech to help them in their day-to-day business or day-to-day, like basically living. Then there are just late majority, which just enter once everyone just follow, and the laggers. Laggers are the people who just don't like to use the technology, don't like to use the new I don't know, social media, new app. They are being forced to do so because of the society pressure. And to check how in our situation, I'm talking about the Slovakian market and on this vertical product, which is smart lock, how we can apply that model, we need some kind of variables. Each model, each equation, which you probably had in mathematics classics or like math or later on statistics, you have some kind of assumptions, estimations, guesstimations, different kind of categories. So we will start, in our case, how to apply diffusion innovation model in smart locks in the Slovakian market. So most of the smart locks are being installed on the door. It means that we need to have a numbers of households. And luckily, that's quite a good estimation because your government publishes on the yearly basis. And I checked before that presentation when I was prepping up for this event that there is around 2.5 million of households in Slovakia. Then there is something what I know because we are checking in every single week as part of the statistic how many locks we are being sold. So in Slovakia, basically it's around 1.5 smart lock per day. It will be around 6,000 locks, smart locks per year. And if you see that curve from the beginning, when based on our data, the smart lock sales started in Slovakia, it was around 2015. So then we see the first reliable statistics about how many smart locks was. Those days in 2015 was only I think few hundred units. And that's the reason if you will see 6,000 this year, but then there is another second very important one, 15,000. It means that this year we will add 6,000, and the last year there were 15,000 smart lock in use in the whole country. We do not include the one which are for the office buildings and different kind of solution, because a hotel, hostel, because once you add that number, it will be much more bigger. That is only around short-term rental households, your private house. So 2.3 million of the households, 6,000 will be sold this year, 15,000 in total, and 2015, that's the first moment when we've seen some kind of numbers about the sales. There is one more very important element of that. There is assumption about people we have here in that room, because basically when I claim that you will have a smart lock, it means that basically you are the hero of this story. So we have to put some kind of assumptions about you. And being on the tech conference, like Tech Slovakia, being on the smart home panel, it means that my assumption is that you are at least early adopter. So it means if you add in total the innovator and early adopters, that's the people that should have the smart lock in some kind of period. The last, it's assumption, and this is assumption we really built our startup on, is when we will have the smart lock in most of the households in Slovakia. And that's something what it's basically the most emotional, because something it's about the future. And whenever I'm thinking about that, it's more like a crystal ball. So we have the crystal ball, we have some business thesis about how the smart locks will be here or will not be here. And in some places, there are countries in the world right now that all households have already the smart lock. So for example, in South Korea, if you will go there, you will not see apartment without smart lock. There is penetration of the smart lock is more than 95%. There are places like in China, in the modern household, most of the places have the smart lock, and the same in Taiwan. So we see that the wave of innovation is already there in somewhere in the East Asia, but the same is also in the Nordics. I'm talking about Sweden, I'm talking about Norway, and to some extent Finland and Denmark as well. The penetration is not on the level on 90%, but it's also like in the late 30%. So, how to solve that for the Slovakia? I'm from Poland, so we have very similar situation there. But I'd always like to think about the future, go to the past. Like there is nice saying that the past holds the key to the future, and I'm strongly believer in that. So let's get back 20 years from, let's get back in past 20 years. This is 2004, and some of you may not even remember those days. I'm the one who unfortunately remembers. So that's the phone which people use that time. This is the most sellable product in 2004. There is another thing. Streaming video, streaming music. That's how it looked like in 2004. The Netflix was still only a DVD rental company. They haven't had even an idea about streaming video. So we are very good with approximation of the linear trend, something that grow in more or less the same pace. But we struggle with the exponential one. So I believe that in order to do that kind of exercise, you have to be open-minded and take few steps perspective. Once you take perspective, you can grasp something what is hidden in the obvious. Most of the people, when I ask when they will think the smart lock will be as common as vacuum cleaner, as microwave, as fridge in every household, they talk 2045. And I only think why they think that way is because it's safe. 20 years from now, probably I will be a grandpa. So it's so far that we say, okay, maybe not in 5 years, maybe not in 10 years, but 20 years, yeah, the kids will have that one. But even if you take that very passive, very safe estimation, we have few nice things to do. Because we have all those numbers who allow us to solve diffusion innovation model for certain product or certain technology and apply those numbers to really solve the equation. So for example, what I've done, I have like a luckily basic coding experience. So I take those numbers and put it in this diffusion innovation model. I run some very basic Python script. And if you put that, this is something what you get. Diffusion of innovation model for Slovakian market for the smart locks. I think probably I'm the first one in the world who've done something like that. Thank you mostly because of that event, so I'm really happy to do so. But we see quite few very interesting points. First of all, as you will see here, we are here, this is the first variables, 2024, where we are. This is our assumption. 20 years, it's really a long time. Probably you've seen how many things changed not only in the tech space in the last 20 years. So we have this huge time span. Then, this is 6,000 logs. So I'm talking this 1.5 per day. And that's numbers which basically I'm talking with my sales team mostly like on the weekly basis, so I know more or less how many logs are being sold. And the last is this 15,000 logs which are right now in total. And what is the beauty? Because if you take those numbers and put it in that model, then you see that we have to have some kind of adoption in that space. And the adoption of the technology is never linear when we are talking about emerging technologies. It's always exponential at some point. And either you will have the mass adoption here in that bucket, or you will need to change some of the variables and apply different set of assumptions. 2024, 2045. That's the reason if you are on the edge of the curve, if you are one of those early adopters, there is no other way for you not to have basically the smart locks. You might be outlier of the statistical anomalies, and that's true. But when we talk about majority here, you should have that kind of solution. But let's get back here. So we have the innovators, the lady, unfortunately the only one who is here. We have us. Then we have the early majority. And let's go back through those curves. First of all, we have the curves, which is basically the total numbers of households in Slovakia. As you see, the red lines glow slowly. The innovators already made the move. Then the early adopters slowly are catching up, and they are spreading the words. You as early adopter are really the key here, because you are the opinion leaders, and the people follows you. You talk about new tech, you talk about new products and services. You are spreading the words. And once you make a move, you see, we can also notice here how the numbers of smart locks that will be sold on a daily and monthly basis grows. Those numbers, the 30,000, 40,000, etc., those are the numbers of smart locks which will be sold on the daily, on the monthly, on the yearly basis, on every stage of that time. Then, after early majority, after early adopters, the early majority comes into place. And the early majority are mostly the people, they are skeptics. They don't like to use new tech, but they are really pragmatic people. It means that if they see that something works and people around them start using it, they will adapt. And later on, it's just like flames on, when the like maybe that's not that, but when the fire is burning, it goes very quickly. We've seen that with all this, like with ChatGPT. We've seen this with social media. We've seen even with the electric cars. If you see here, if you apply the same model for electric cars, it will go exactly the same way. After 2035, it's already deal done. Most of the people will have the smart locks one way or another because there is no other way back. Then the construction buildings, the real estate companies, they will start putting the smart lock by smart lock to every household once they start building it. And we also already see this. So, for example, right now I'm living in Spain because this is our biggest market. So we already see there that the new constructions, they have already the smart lock there. Like in Dubai and Qatar, in the Middle East, where we have also like a big chunk of our sales, that's the same. There is few towers of the new buildings which already have our smart lock deployed like just basically last week. And the laggers, again, like with the business card, like with the credit cards, with the payment cards, etc., like with other technology, they will use only the smart lock because they will be forced. They will not buy new doors, they won't be able to buy new apartments without any kind of smart lock solution. So that's basically the thesis, and why I choose to tell about that one here. Because I believe that all people who have some kind of startup, run business, or you are the young one and would like to build a startup somewhere in the future, I think this is the nice way to estimate what kind of market you have, what kind of products you are dealing with, and how to apply those numbers to the go-to-market activities, which one way or another you have to present this thesis for your investors. So that's it for now from me. It was a pleasure to be a guest here, so thank you for invite, and hope that you enjoy and learn a bit about here. Thank you.
Váš potlesk si zaslúži Grzegorz Chuchra. Thank you very much.
Thank you.